Hey there, it's Dina from IDon'tGetItTutoring.com. Today we're going to be going over horizontal and vertical lines. Let's get started. So, I'm assuming you know what horizontal and vertical mean, but just in case, I'm going to go over it anyway. Horizontal sounds a lot like another word. Hint, it's in horizontal. Horizon. And do you know what the horizon is? It's basically where the sky meets the land or the sea. So if you ever watch a sunset, this line right here, that is the horizon. And as you could see, it goes from left to right. That's horizontal. Vertical, there's not really a word in vertical, but vertical means up to down, or vice versa, down to up. Vertical lines look like this, and horizontal lines look like this. That's all there is to it for the definitions. But now let's get into the definition of what they mean on a graph, meaning the x and y axes. So let's say we were to have a graph and this was our x-axis and this is our y-axis. Now, if I were to draw a vertical line, would you be able to give me the equation of this line that I drew right here? I'm actually going to make it red. What would be the equation of the red line? Okay, so here are a few rules you must know about vertical lines. First, their x is constant. Meaning, no matter what point you go to on the line, the x coordinate is always the same. So let's say we were to take a point here or a point here, and let's say our x was 3. This would be like 3, 1, and this could be 3, 3. No matter where you go, or even underneath, right, quadrant 4, it would be 3, -2, or something like that. So as you can see, no matter where you go on the line, like I said, the x is constant. The x always stays the same. It's always going to be 3 for this red line right here in this example. Another thing about vertical lines that you must know is their slope. Their slope is undefined. Now, what does undefined mean? I'm going to explain that right now. Undefined slope is basically, well, an undefined number is when you have a 0 in the denominator of a fraction. So let's say you had x over 0, that is undefined. Why? Because you can't divide by 0, and there's no number that gives you anything divided by 0. Like, there's not a number to put on that because it's not possible. So since we can't put a number or really a symbol, we just put undefined because it's not possible. It can't possibly equal anything. So that's what undefined means. So using this line that we have right here, let's try and prove that the slope of a vertical line is undefined. So slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right, so meaning we need to get x2 minus x1 to equal 0. So let's take this point here and this point here. All right, so our y2 in this case, let's just say -2, and our y1 would be 3. So -2 minus 3, right? -2, 3. And now for our x's, both the same. x2 is 3, and so is x1. So -2 minus 3, -5. But 3 minus 3 is 0, because any number minus itself is 0. Okay, we have a number divided by 0. That's not possible, so it's undefined. There's no definition to it. There's nothing that it can be because it's impossible. So once again, vertical lines have an undefined slope. And that's because their x is constant, their x is always the same. Now, we did vertical lines. Let's move on to horizontal lines. Once again, we have our x and y axes. And this time, we're going to have a horizontal line. Oh, before I move on, I actually have one more thing to add for vertical lines. One final thing you must know about vertical lines is that they are always parallel to the y-axis. Meaning, no matter how far along it goes, even if the y-coordinate is like 1,000,000, it's still never going to touch the y-axis. It's always going to be parallel to it. They are never going to touch. It's exactly straight and vertical, just like the y-axis. So yes, there are 3 major things you need to know about vertical lines, and it's these 3 rules right here. That's it on vertical lines. Now let's move on to horizontal lines. So I have this graph right here of a horizontal line. Okay, so first, now we knew that in vertical lines, the x was always the same. But now on horizontal lines, ooh, this one that I drew is actually a little crooked. Let me try again. I want it to be as straight as possible. Gotta fix my x-axis here too. Okay, good enough. And now, okay, I guess it's a little straighter. I know it's a little wobbly, but overall straighter. More horizontal. So over here in horizontal lines, the y value is always constant. Once again, that means no matter where you are on this line, the y value is always going to be the same. So whether you're here, or you're here, or you're here, it's always going to be the same. So let's say we have a y value of 3 this time. This line is going to be x equals 3 this line. Because, no, wait. Sorry. Y equals 3 because the y value is always constant. That's what this line is. Since the y value is always constant and there's always a certain value that the y is going to be, the line will be defined by the value of y. So let's say our line is y equals 3 and all these points are at a y coordinate of 3. Let's say this is 4, 3, 8, 3, and -4, 3. The x changes but the y is always the same. Another rule for horizontal lines is that their slope is 0, meaning it just keeps going. It doesn't go up, it doesn't go down, it's not diagonal, it just goes straight across, and that's it. So let's prove that the slope is 0. Let's take these 2 points and once again find the slope. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So in order to get it to be 0, the slope, we need a numerator of 0, meaning y2 minus y1 has to equal 0. So y2 minus y1, or y2 in this case, would be 3. Our y1, 3. So 3 minus 3 over x2 minus x1. Our x2 would be 8. And our x1 would be 4. So now to simplify, 3 minus 3 is, what a surprise, 0. And 8 minus 4 is 4. And 0 divided by anything is equal to 0. So that is the slope of our horizontal line, 0. One last rule about horizontal lines is that they are always parallel to the x-axis. Even though the y is constant, it's always parallel to the x-axis. It never touches, it never crosses, it never intersects the x-axis ever. So, to conclude, in this video we went over vertical and horizontal lines and their properties. I hope this video was helpful to you, and thank you for watching. Bye!